doing?
Welcome back. This is our second edition of Who We Are, our story as we got started doing Hadwin House. Where did we leave off last week?
I don't know, but is it an edition or is it an episode?
Whatever.
I mean, I can have an episode.
Yes, we know you can have an episode. Yes, episode 2.
Episode 2. So we're just kind of going through what our story has been over the last almost 5 years of Hadwin House, and anybody that's kind of been around with us through the process can attest that there's been a lot that's happened. So it's kind of fun to share our story. Last week we talked a little bit about the very, very beginning and how, like, what we wanted, who we wanted to be about, and just kind of like the early stages of Hadwin House.
Testing.
All
that good stuff. Yes. The
Yes.
year's worth of testing that took place. So I guess we'll pick up there.
Yeah. So we got going, and I, early on, so we say we did a year of testing, but there were things that happened during that year as well. Like, one of the things that was going through my mind as I was getting started with this whole candle making process, and I was getting excited and literally laying in bed at all hours of the night thinking of different combinations of scents and what their colors would look like and all of that, it dawned on me, maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I'm not supposed to be playing with candle wax. Maybe I'm not supposed to be doing these things.
It wasn't a dawning, it was a doubting.
It was definitely a doubting.
She was doubting herself.
I definitely was. So I started praying, and I prayed heavily. And one of the things that weighed on my soul was, Lord, if this is not what I am supposed to do, let me know right away. Like, take it away from me, and I will just have these candles that I have made up, and I will burn them, and I will enjoy them, and I will give them as gifts to my family, and all will be right with the world. And that day, when I say that day, I mean within a period of an hour, my friend Jenna messaged me, and she saw where on Facebook I had posted these candles and had previously said, hey, could you do these for a fundraiser? And I was like, sure, thinking zero things of it. Well, the day that I started really praying for clarity from God, if that's what I was supposed to be doing, within an hour, she says, we want to move forward with a fundraiser for the well that we're trying to put in Honduras. And I looked at Damon, I was like, oh my gosh. So I think I just got an answer to prayer. I've been praying about this, and Jenna just said, we want to have you do a candle fundraiser for us. And I was over the moon, excited.
Nervous.
I was nervous. I was really nervous. I'm like, okay, I've sold it. Now can I meet the expectation? Can I perform?
And of course, her being her biggest critic, everything had to be perfect. And that, again, this was part of that year process of testing and everything. We were still doing trying to figure out who we were, where we wanted to end up at. So during this time as well, in this testing phase, we also came across this feeling of, okay, is this really right for us? Because we would have, yes, we had this fundraiser. Sorry. This fundraiser. But then what came after that?
Yeah.
And not really much came after that. So again, we're left with this feeling, is this something that she's supposed to be doing?
Now, on the flip side, the fundraiser, it wound up being a huge success.
Huge success.
And I have to give a major shout out to my Calvary Chapel of Hamilton family, because they jump-started Hadwin House.
They sure
Without
did.
them, Hadwin House would likely not be.
It wouldn't be.
I mean, they were so excited to be working with a local church family member to help support the mission at hand. So they were super excited that the candles that they were getting were actually made by somebody in the church, and they were so cute. We used to do our fundraiser jars special. They were done in like little jelly jars, and they were so cute, and we had a great time with it. And that was super encouraging. Don't misunderstand when we say, well, we were still kind of doubting. We were very, very encouraged, because I think it wound up being like 170 plus candles that we wound up doing for that fundraiser. And for me, never having mass poured, never having done a fundraiser with the candles, it was wildly successful for our first major something. And it was very, very encouraging. But after that, it was kind of like, okay, where do we go from here? Like, what are we actually doing? Like, what's our purpose? What's our plan? And it was kind of a roller coaster for about a year and a half, because
so after that, you know, we decided, okay, she's going to make a really good run at this. She created her own online store, you know, got ourselves all set up to be able to sell to the masses after this. But with those new adventures comes more doubt, more insecurities about, okay, where do we go from here? Because it takes so long for things to really get going, to really move. And it was during this time that of just not knowing.
We had some pretty major hiccups during that time too.
We did.
Like the jar that we were using, we were super excited about it. So we started out and we had these jars that had like 12 sides on them. They're called dodeck jars. And then for our large jars, we were using pint-sized mason jars, and we were double wicking those. And it was one of those things that we were like, we started to get into a groove. And then, hey, by the way, your jar, for your small jar, has been discontinued. We don't make that anymore. Okay. I was in a frantic panic, and for months trying to figure out what are we going to do. So guess what? Testing started all over again.
And of course, we changed the small jar, so we're going to change the
large
jar
so that they're
to
the
match,
same.
and then we have to test that too. And of course, we have to test the new wicks and how does that wax burn in those containers, and do we need to change the wax as well?
Yes.
So
and then the wax. We had a fun run with the wax too.
Yes, the wax we were getting.
Wax can be
became
inconsistent.
to say
We
the
learned that there's so much physics, there's so much science, and I love science. But it wound up being a situation where it dawned on us, hey, this is not 100% meeting all of our needs. Let's blend our own. So in the middle of a jar change, which ultimately meant a label change, which meant an everything change, we decide, since we're changing everything, let's change the wax too. But we didn't completely change it. We just modified the wax that we found that we really loved to make us love it more and to make it have a better scent, help it to burn even cleaner yet. And we did that and have not looked back, because that was one of those things that it made us really stand apart.
Yeah, it was one of those game changer type things that, once we were able to better perfect that, the confidence level in what we were doing was able to go up higher. And it was one of those things where we didn't look back and say, well, what if we did this instead? It was, okay, now we know what we're doing, where we're going with this. It gave us that stability we really needed through all that changing of jars and everything else. So that was very helpful. And so amongst all that change, of course, comes what's next? What's the next big step? Is there the next big step, or are we just going to be this little do everything out of our kitchen? Or at that point, were you
I was in the basement.
making in the basement?
I had a little dungeon. It was
Yes,
great.
the dungeon. The dungeon basement.
The dungeon, and the lighting was terrible down there.
The light,
It was,
well, we got new lighting put in.
I had like a tiny little table with my little melty pot on it, and I had like this small little workstation that I was super proud of. Like, it was college dorm desk size station, but I was proud of it. It was mine. I was going with it. It was great.
You had your shelves with all
I had my
scents
shelves with
and-
all of my things, and I was all organized-ish. It's not organized. Guys, this is about as real as it's gonna get. Like, we're throwing at you the real of what Hadwin House has evolved through. And it was really interesting for us to start to discover, hey, this works, this doesn't work, or you need this, or you need that. And of course, anytime the words, I think we need, started, you could hear the bank card go, oh, she's gonna use it again. I know it. I just know it. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna be bad, guys.
That was
Look
me
out.
saying that. She just thought it was a bank card. That was me saying that.
People's like, I'm gonna go and start a business. Yeah, okay, good luck, because every time you think you need something, your bank account screams just a little bit. And it was very exciting because we started out with like a small melty pot, and then we quickly grew out of that, and then it was, we need a little bit bigger melty pot. And then beyond that, it was like, okay, I'm filling this thing up 3 times a day. Let's go and pull out the big guns. And we did. We got a 100-pound melter really quickly, and this thing is a behemoth. I mean, it's like huge.
Still not big enough.
And as of today, it's not big enough. I can fill it up. I could easily fill it up twice in a day. So it's one of those things where we just kind of started to see these things happen. And anytime you're starting a business, your first 5 years, you're just spending money. Like, you're just spending a ton of money. But we were okay with it. Like, we were good with it because we could see very quickly the potential. And it wound up being a situation where we're like, okay, how are we going to get these into the hands of the people? Because online was not working.